Mike in the morning on ESPN Radio in 15 minutes. Marcellus Wiley in our studio will continue trying to figure out where Peyton Manning's going to go. And wherever he goes, Mike, if someone there has the jersey number 18, Peyton Manning may make them very rich. We have on Twitter, at Mike and Mike, what would you want to give up the number 18?
Cincinnati Meat says to be in his next 3 commercials.
I'll take that.
Another, I would ask Peyton to host SNL again and work me into a bit.
I like that.
I like this one. See how much pull he has with his brother. I would ask for his brother's MVP Corvette from the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, Peyton's got one of his own, doesn't he? He was an MVP of a Super Bowl once upon a time. Keep those coming again. Much more on Peyton as we go. But again, this is the biggest week of the year in college basketball. Championship week leading into Selection Sunday, leading into the NCAA tournament. And here he is, a man who won 3 national championships. Our very own Bob Knight on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. And very quickly, can we start there, Coach? Right now, automatic bids are going out to all the champions of some of these smaller conferences, and I know that I've always believed that's one of the things that makes this tournament so great is that you have some of these smaller schools represented with their moment in the sun. But a lot of smart people, including your friend Jay Billis, think that maybe the time for that has come and gone, and they should allow more of the better mid-major type of teams in rather than allowing some of these teams in as the 15th seeds and 16th seeds. Generally speaking, in your view, if you were the one making this decision, how would you handle that?
Well, I have never liked the postseason tournaments. I thought it was nothing but anticlimactic. Team works all year on an 18-game schedule or a 16-game schedule and wins a league championship, which I think is a great accomplishment. And then all that is obliterated by a postseason tournament simply to increase revenue. And I think it really takes away from the team that has won the league championship. I think after a season is completed, there's enough. I agree with what I think Jay was talking about, that there is enough things, enough data has been collected over the course of a year to still put the best 64 teams in the NCAA tournament without all this postseason stuff. I never cared about the postseason tournament. I wanted to get it over with. Not that I wanted us to lose, but I was never upset when and if we got beat. I wanted it over with so we could get ready for the NCAA tournament.
How did you approach that? You say you wanted it over with. How did you approach it with your players in getting ready for it?
Well, I really never said anything about it. We went into it. I probably did not work them nearly as hard if I thought it would have meant anything to us. I doubt if there was a time when I was coaching that we went into the postseason tournament really needing to do anything to get into the NCAA tournament. I don't think that ever happened one time. I think that we went to the NCAA tournament 19 or 20 or 21 times in a row. So I think that the same thing is true. Like in some of the mid-major conferences, you probably eliminate the best team on occasion simply because it didn't win the postseason tournament. I thought that was sheer stupidity in the beginning when they said it will be the winner of the postseason tournament that gets the automatic bid from any conference. I have never agreed with that philosophy.
I completely agree with you on that. Mike and Bob Knight, who's with us. And as we look at the teams that have had the best seasons, obviously Kentucky and Syracuse both sitting there with only 1 loss. And then a North Carolina team that has had a few sort of tough-to-explain hiccups along the way, goes out Saturday night on national TV, Coach, and puts on an unbelievable performance at Duke. As you watched them, I wonder how impressed you were by them and what you think that may mean for them going forward.
Well, I think what it means for any team, I think, Mike, is that they have to sustain that. They have to keep going. I used to tell if we had had a bad game or gotten beat when I thought maybe it was a team we shouldn't have lost to, then I would say, okay, here's a game that we played as well as we can play, and that's the kind of play you've got to have every time you go out. And if you're up and down and you can't correct that, then you're going to get hurt somewhere along the way with an upset when it really hurts you, either for the conference championship or early in the NCAA tournament. I think getting players to understand that it has to be their best effort, not just a best effort and a great game. And then that I think is one of the hardest things for a coach to be able to get done with the team is absolute consistency of performance.
So in the NCAA tournament, to win 6, obviously it's one and done, and foul trouble could become an issue. How deep do teams need to be in their bench to be able to make that run?
Well, they don't need to be real deep if they don't make a lot of fouls. You know, and really, that I'm glad I made you laugh. But I used to referee everything that happened in practice. I'd say you can't use your hands. You play defense with your feet. Get your hands out of there. That's a foul. Now, that team is closer to the 1-and-1 than we are. They're closer than the 2-shot because you reached and grabbed. Teaching kids how not to use their hands on defense and then how to use their body and their feet on defense eliminates an awful lot of fouls. And that's really, really important in any game, and particularly a close game. The first guy that gets to the 1-and-1, the first guy that gets to the 2-shot. And if you watch a basketball game carefully, you will see a ton of unnecessary fouls where a guy is reaching in on the man with the ball.
Mike and Bob Knight is with us. I think you could make an argument that in terms of depth, the Big Ten had as good a year this year and has as many good teams as just about any team, any conference in the country right now. They had a 3-way tie at the top of the conference for the regular season, Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State. As you watch them, do you see one of those more than the others that has the stuff that you think could give them a deep run in the NCAA tournament?
Well, it's obviously an even conference. Now, how good those teams are, I really question. I don't think there's a conference in the country that has 2 teams nearly as good as Missouri and Kansas. I think they have the 2 best teams by far in any one conference. So sometimes it's a little bit misleading because a conference plays closely, and a lot of people are playing and winning. You get 3 or 4 teams that are about equal. Now, equality isn't synonymous with being really good in many cases. So here, I think, as I look across all the teams, I don't see anybody having 2 teams like Kansas and Missouri.
That's interesting. Better than Carolina and Duke.
I think, I've seen them all play, and in my opinion, those are the 2 best teams that I've seen play. And then Carolina and Duke might be the next best, but as you have said, those 2 teams have had some problems along the way in terms of getting ready and playing at their best, and I don't think these other 2 have. The 2 toughest opponents that they've had have been each other.
Well, Coach, we're certainly looking forward to seeing you on Sunday as part of ESPN's coverage of Selection Sunday, and then let the madness begin. Good to talk to you, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, boys. Thanks a lot. Have a nice morning.
That's Bob Knight on the Subway Fresh Steak Hotline. Hurry into Subway for the jalapeno tuna, the featured $5 footlong of March. Subway, eat fresh. A lot of interesting stuff in there, including, I think he's right, Michigan State, for a while there, people were talking about them as a number 1 seed. Yeah. Ohio State, early in the year, people thought was really good. Are any of those teams really that good? We're going to start to find out.
Yeah, we are. Can't wait to start picking the sheets.
The sheets of integrity, obviously, we mentioned. We're going to announce tomorrow the stakes for our wager. And then the other thing, which he touched on, and I've been saying this for years, and the Peyton Manning thing is obliterated this week, giving the automatic bid to the conference tournament champion makes no sense at all. We're back in 3 minutes.